Here's a lockpick. It might be handy if you, the master of unlocking, take it with you.
Looting through the rubble, leaving cities war-torn, still incurring war scorn. Ragged and I'm forlorn, trying to unlock this. Open with my lockpicks, punching with my second hand every time the clock ticks.
All right, there you go.
Oop. There we go. That's a lot better. All right, just hang on, everyone. I'm just going to do a mic check here to make sure you can hear me and I'm not chipmunking. Okay, perfect. Hello, everyone out there. I'm going to put the remote down. Welcome to the Master of Unlocking. Hi, Creature X, and hi, Dissa Del Mona, our longtime streaming fan since the beginning. I'm going to go through the spiel real quick. I just want to also put out ahead, apologize for, I know it always seems like I'm late on Master of Unlocking every time, but today was literally nuts. I had to go into, you can see I haven't shaved yet. I was supposed to be clean shaven for this episode. I was supposed to go into New York. I went to New York City and I came back. So literally, I think I got here at like 7:40 and I had to do all this setup. At the same time, my friend who's still going on a crisis, I have her on standby, and literally, this was going to be a short stream anyhow, but after that stream, I then have to go over and help her out with a bunch of different, like, emotional support things, because I'm one of her few friends she can contact. So, a bunch of heavy stuff, but she likes when I stream. She's actually probably watching right now. Not in that way. Hopefully, I don't know. Yeah, so we're going to get right into this. So, hello everyone out there. Well, who am I? I am Sidepocket. I am one of the two co-founders of DEFCON 201, and I have this crazy hair. I'm also a member of Tool. That's Tool with T-O-O-O-L. That's Tool with 3 O's. It stands for the Open Organization of Lockpickers, and I'm a member of that. It's a guild of lockpickers and lock sporters from all different types of people all over the world and across the United States who like lockpicking. And Tool, TOOL.us is the US division, and that's what I'm a member of. I'm just double checking here. Okay, we're good. DEFCON 201 itself is a computer hacker group that's based out of Jersey City, New Jersey. Trying to think, because it's been a long day. We normally meet third Friday every month. This last Friday was our meeting. It was awesome. We had like the best crowd and some amazing speakers, and we got to do some coding stuff and tutorial and privacy activism and spooky stuff. I got to wear masks. It was really fun. And if you want to know more about us, you can go to our where's the camera? Go to our website at defcon201.org, or go to our social media such as Twitter at defcon21edj, or if you go to our website or just search at DuckDuckGo, DC201 or defcon201, you could find us on everything from Instagram to GitHub. We're even on Mastodon, which is under hostducks.social, and it's right there in the little bar. So, this is Master of Unlocking. This is a show you can kind of see with because the title card, I have to make a new better, like, little title thing in the corner. I'm doing a bunch of updates with the streams over this week because I feel like every 2 or 3 broadcasts we add a new upgrade to it. But on Master of Unlocking, because I'm a member of Tool, I like to teach what locks are and how they work mechanically and what are some of the defects in them that then you can exploit via lock picking, lock sport, and bypassing in order to defeat these lock mechanisms and the security that's built in and around them and for their uses. Before we do continue, and then we'll get into what this episode is, because stuff was kind of thrown together at the last minute, but hear me out. So we have 2 rules at Tool that, even though, which I also have to warn, this is called Master of Unlocking because I am a big Resident Evil fanboy, and Jill is known, as you saw in the intro, the Master of Unlocking. I thought it'd be a cool thing for video games. Let me turn up my microphone a bit so you guys can hear me a bit better. Yeah, I think that works. But we do have 2 rules. Yeah, a Tool that, even though this is not a Tool sponsored or endorsed stream, despite me being a member, that I adhere to, and we always say this on the show before we start anything. So, number 1, do not pick locks that you rely on. If you watch the contents of this episode or any of the previous episodes or any future episode, and you go around and you're like, hey, I have a lock on my front door. I get this all the time. I have a lock on my front door. I have a lock on my gym locker. I have a lock for this case, like this safe that holds stuff. I'm going to bypass or pick it. Don't, because the techniques that you use because these are high quality products usually, They're very precision products. Not only will you are most likely to break your lockpicking tools, you will not either A, eventually break the lock that you're working on, or B, you will wear down that lock. The more you use an exploit on a lock, the more it's susceptible to that exploit. So you will wear down your lock over time. So do not use locks rely on. Do not pick the lock on your front door. Do not pick the locks on your windows. Do not pick the locks on your daughter or sister's journal. Just don't do that. There's also a bunch of legal reasons why. And second of all, do not pick locks that you don't own. After you see this episode, or if you look at our backlog episodes on YouTube and are like walking around, be like, hey, I saw that lock on Master of Unlocking. I have the tool to bypass it or pick it. I'm going to go over and try it because I'm insanely curious. Well, first of all, that lock is not yours. You're probably also going on to another person's property, and because they don't want you there to pick that lock, that means you're trespassing. You're breaking so many rules, you're going to get yourself in trouble, and I told you not to do it, so you can't drag me into all the legal matters either. I'm just going to tell you you're an idiot if you do that and you get arrested. So don't do that. Only do this sort of stuff if you have to in emergencies, such as, let's say, your building's on fire and somehow you've locked yourself in, you need to get out, or I will say, it depends on laws, I have had friends that have locked themselves out, and after exhausting so many other options, they gave me permission to open the locks on their door. But that's a very big exception. That's because even though I'm not like, I'm not deviant Olam level expert on lockpicking, I do know my stuff, and I have opened many things before, including women, and some guys. But no, I always say that, like, with my life, it's like, my whole life is me getting into holes that I wasn't originally supposed to get into, whether they are locks or people, or financial holes. I do that too. So, we're going to get into this episode, and this episode today is going to be kind of nuts because originally we were going to interview the folks at Lockpick AR, which is this amazing lock sport group that formed around a hacker convention in Buenos Aires, Argentina called Echo Party, and we were going to pick their brains about lockpicking while I was going to just pick random locks on air. Unfortunately, I'm not quite limited by money anymore because there's new equipment coming in. The next couple episodes are going to be awesome. My new problem is, in this case, we're time zones. They are on a different time zone than us, and it's not that... We're going to get to that interview. In fact, I'm trying to push that interview for our next meetup, which the next episode of Master of Unlocking, which is November 1st. And basically, I was so busy setting up last Friday's meeting that by the time I emailed them, it literally takes them slightly over a day to respond to any of my emails. So basically, by the time they read the new update, I'm already doing this episode right now. So that's why we're not going to interview them today. They're still super down for it and everything. I'm going to try to do it next episode in November. So what are we going to cover today? Well, for those of you who have seen our Instagram, which on Instagram we're at the @ symbol DEFCON 201, DEFCON 201. Again, if you go to our website, defcon201.org, we have a click link direct to it. I got a new lockpick tool, and it's actually one that's difficult to get, and I'll explain how and why. And we're going to look at it and review it on air. And it's kind of also a taste of a type of lock system we're going to be looking on in the future. And then we're going to take a short break. This is probably going to be one of the shortest episodes of Master of Unlocking. I know every time I say that, it's going to be the shortest episode. The episode ends up being like 8 hours long, but I guarantee that this is probably going to be like, at worst, it's going to be 2 hours. If not, it's probably going to be like an hour, 40 minutes, an hour, just 40 minutes, or like an hour and 20 minutes, something like that. But the second part is after our short break, we have been doing this thing called Hacktoberfest. We did a bunch of it on Friday. People have been doing Git pulls on there. I'm going to re-explain what it is later. It's the way you do it, like open source stuff. And I completely forgot to mention a cool utility on our meeting episode that I'm going to bring up today that actually has to do with locks. And we're going to see if we can potentially update some of the code to that, or at least try out this utility because it's very good. So we have a physical tool we're going to look at today and a digital tool. And so that's going to be fun. So now that you know about the two rules, do not pick locks that you rely on, and do not pick locks that you don't own, and you know all the spiel of everything, what today's episode is, we're going to tilt the camera down. But right before we do so, if you do like this content, if you really liked last meeting, if you're looking forward to future episodes of Master of Unlocking, especially when we interview Lockpick AR, which now seems to be at November 1st, or you want to see some of the upcoming shows like Hack Alt and Commander, which will be back on in 2 weeks, and he has a bunch of new stuff I saw him order on eBay that he's going to hack. Next week, later this Thursday, Arch Vile Linux Perspective. our co-founder GI Jack, where he looks at Arch Linux systems and he likes to do video games on it. He has a cool double feature thing that's Halloween themed that I think you will all enjoy because it's involving doing a hack to make a game run in Arch Linux that is totally appropriate. Or this Saturday, I'm going to be on with Crypto Barons, which is a show where I teach about, it's my other show, where I teach about blockchain and technologies and cryptocurrencies as technologies as opposed to snake oil salesman stuff. And we're going to continue part 2 of our Halloween episode. So after we covered the darknet stuff last time, this Saturday we're going to be looking at the Brave browser and all of its good sides, the unfortunate bad sides of it, and cool ways that the open source community has contributed to actually try to make the thing better. So if you like that, you can hit that bell, click like, share, subscribe on Twitch, D Live, or YouTube. We're working on Facebook pretty soon. We'll hopefully activate sometime either very late October or in early November. If you do like us on Twitch, D Live, or YouTube, or you send us bits on Twitch or lemons on D Live or super chats on YouTube, we see the pop-up notifications on there. You'll see it at home, and we'd like to cheer you on. Also, I know I talked too much in the beginning, but hear me out. I like interacting with chat. If you have any questions, if you can't hear me, if I'm too loud, if you're confused about a topic, if you want to comment on my crazy hair, want to talk about lockpicking, talk about hacking, talk about DEFCON 201, Joyzy stuff, how terrible 2020 is with COVID and Cheeto COVID running around, which is even a worse form of COVID. Ugh, it's in the White House. Definitely let me know in chat. Otherwise, keep lurking and keep learning because I like our lurkers. I consider when you guys are quiet, you guys and gals, you key pins and driver pins out there. When you are all quiet, that means you're actually learning. So, without further ado, let's do the camera tilt for Master of Unlocking. So, as I adjust the camera slightly so you have a bit of a better... I think it's like, hold on. It's like... There we go. And I have the paper upside down. Wow. This is the first time. Thankfully, I don't have much equipment on here. This is the first time I've actually had the flyer upside down because I am a ninny. That actually makes me realize I have to rearrange the setup here, which is perfectly fine. See? Really simple. So, the table looks sparse, but there's interesting things here. And you'll notice there's a big giant box from Sparrows. So what are we doing today? Well, let's actually go to the browser, and I will show you. Let's move this a bit here. Give it a little bit more space for the mouse. There we go. Browser. This is like a bad vision test. I'm getting older. There we go. Alright, so that was the YouTube page. I didn't want to land on that. Here we go. So that's our website. As you can see, we still have all the edits from Friday from Hacktoberfest when DEFCON 201 member Cell showed everyone how GitHub operates. So they add some bits here and they added a cute pumpkin. I like this pumpkin thing. And I do like cactuses, but this is kind of too much. We're probably going to get rid of all this in November. But in honor of everyone else during the episode, we're going to keep this up until November starts. But Sparrows is a website where you can get various lockpicking tools. There's so many different places you can get them from. However, a lot of my stuff comes from Sparrows. I find that Sparrows is pretty good for like the price that you get. Sorry again, I just came from New York, so my brain is a little flustered. I had to drop off something for a friend. It wasn't drugs, I can tell you that. It was a gift for her. Because of the postal service is crap because they're trying to rig an election. Her birthday gift was delayed, so I finally got it out to her. Anyhow, Sparrows I often find is the most like bang for your buck. Like it's the right balance of they have good to amazing quality stuff at like actual affordable prices. And they sell all sorts of things. They have them in categories. So there's like a beginner section over here where you can get like a Kickstart kit for barely $20. You can get a super complete set called the Tuxedo for $32. And these are high quality stainless steel, 25 thousandths of an inch. And I think they add another short hook in there that's at 15 thousandths just in case. And that's one of the other things I like about Sparrows is that they really think of everything here. And they've been recently branching out to things like a couple of years back. They worked with Lockpicking Lawyer and they made these dimple lock picks, and dimple locks is something that I'm hoping to either get into November or December. because I'm waiting for stuff in the mail to show you all. I have most of the kit here. And, you know, they have various cool advanced tools, such as different rocking hooks. What other tools they have? They have the SSDev hooks. The SSDev is like a different team. They're like the lockpicking group in Germany. And they have it like they're these custom high hooks, both the 25,000th and 15,000th of an inch. They sell really cool, really high quality stuff. Like here's this whole like rocking and raking set called Reflections with these beautifully etched handles. Things like that. I note that I'm not sponsored by Sparrows. It would be amazing if I got sponsored by them. But it's just, again, I use a lot of their pick sets. And so what are we going to look at today? Well, let's flip the camera back over here and I will show you. So, let's see. We should probably let's do the close-up camera for this. So, you are all probably familiar with this guy here, if it focuses. There's my hairy knuckles. So you're probably familiar with this lad here. This is the clear padlock. I usually use this, again, I don't recommend if you're by yourself learning how to pick how to pick locks with a clear padlock. If you're super visually oriented, I would actually highly recommend, unfortunately, we're going to flip back to the browser real quick. I'm not even going to change the background. I highly recommend you go to Sparrows, go to the beginner section, and there's a standard pin cutaway lock, and what it is a brass lock, and it's really well designed, and they've dremeled the side of it away. I actually have it in my kit, but my kit's in the other room, so I'm not bringing it out right now. And the reason is because these clear padlocks, and they do sell clear acrylic ones as well on here. But the problem with these clear guys is that, clear gals and guys, is that they are plasticine outside of the metal core and the pins and the springs. And plasticine has a completely different squishy feel, and it's a little bit more easier to pick. Using these cutout locks from Sparrows, because it's all brass except for the cutout, obviously, not only can you see what's going on and how your movements interact with things, because it's all brass, it more closely, very accurately emulates the feel of being in the inside of an actual brass padlock, and eventually you'll be able to feel and sometimes hear what's going on in a lock before that. But the reason why I have a clear lock is me as an instructor. Sometimes there are lockpicking tools that are not for the students per se, but are for, like, you know, the instructor, for me to visually demo. And so you're probably familiar with this, and this is common. This is known as a pin tumbler lock. I'm not going to go into exactly how everything works and its exploits for it, but as you can see in here, there's a core, and there's two sets of pins, key pins and driver pins with springs pushing down on them, and you have a key that has peaks and valleys that are bitted to a certain length. So with the right key, with the right bitting, all these pins go from all these weird up and down angles to all being even, and that allows you to turn the core, and by able to turn the core, it will move this actuator up here, in which this case, since it's a padlock, it will disengage the actual shackle, which means it pops open, and we have an open. And lockpicking, what you're doing is you are exploiting the manufacturing flaws. For example, when you look here, you realize how these holes are not drilled evenly. Even with computer engineering, you can see that some are kind of more to, like, if I hold it this way, some of them are more to the left, some of them are more to the right on here. Elbow cough. You can cough with your elbows? That's a cool talent. If you can cough with your elbows, message us, and I will totally love to have you on air here. But it's sort of like, well, why am I showing you this? Well, in a future episode, we're going to be dealing with this guy. Now, at first, especially if this wasn't clear, you would think it's a normal padlock. It has a shackle, and it has keys, and there's a slot. But if you notice, two things. One, check out the slot on the pin and tumbler key. Right? You see how it's like kind of squiggly, and if I angle it up, you can see that first key pin in the hole up there. It looks like a little bullet. Now look at this one. This is just like a generic slot. Like, what the heck? What is this thing? There's like moving parts in there. It's like these little like cutouts that are like inside there at different angles. And when you look at it clear, right, it does not look like any topology. There's no springs. There's like these little individual discs in there. Like what's going? And there's like these ball bearings. There's no spring with this. What's going on with this thing? And what's even more bizarre is, again, when you look at the pin and tumbler lock key, here's the key. You're familiar with this. It has, you know, all these peaks and valleys on it. We call that bidding, and they're cut to a certain length. Now look at the cuts on this key. Ignore the fact that it says it's from China. What is that thing on the top? Like, that's so bizarre, isn't it? Like, one, it's like, so it's like, instead of this thin piece here, you have this sort of thick slab of metal, and then it's cut on both sides, and instead of these like peak and valleys like on a standard pin tumbler key or what people call a normal key, there's like these like angles on there. Like, look, there's like a wedge cut out here, and then that's one even at more of an angle, and that's like at a steeper angle. What is all of this? Well, let's put these keys back. This is known as a Detainer lock. Now, again, I'm not going to go into every single facet of what a Detainer lock is or how it works and how to pick them, simply because this is going to be kind of weird. We're going to, for once, put the cart before the horse, just because, again, I had scrambled to put content together. We will have an episode about doing Detainer picks, how to pick Detainer locks. What I'm actually waiting for is one. I do have another Detainer that, unfortunately, this is like a cheap Chinese one that came with that plastic lock. I also have another one that doesn't work on that lock, but unfortunately, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it on here. Let's get it to focus. Come on. Focus. Come on. It's like you're in grade school. Focus. Focus. There we go. So, I don't know if you can notice on here, but basically, it broke on this side. There's like a little line on there. So I have to weld that back on for this to work. And I'm going to get into the reason why I want that to work again. Not just because it would be nice to have, you know, a Detainer pick like that. But we're going to get into something about with this thing that I'm reviewing in here. And the other thing is, what I usually get in my training kits for students is I always try to get, if it's available, one clear lock, or in lieu of a clear lock, I try to get a lock that either has a cutout or is designed as a stupid simple practice lock where it's like super easy, where it might only have like one pin or one gate in it. Then I usually have a bunch of like one or two really easy locks to pick with the lock picking technique, along with the tools. Sorry, I do the clear locks or like a super easy lock, and then I have like a couple of real locks. Like, for example, I have this clear Padlock, and I also have, which I don't have on me right now, these progressive series of tumblers, pins 1 through 6. And then I get like some easy, like real padlocks, but they are super easy to open, so that people can get the sensation of what it's like to pick an actual like lock that you would buy in like a Home Depot or a Lowe's. And then I then get one or two more high security locks with real security features on there for those people immediate or advanced who want an actual challenge. And it's the same thing here. What I'm waiting for is not only to repair that Detainer pick, but I also want to, I need to get one or two locks, and I'm looking for one Detainer that is like normal, kind of like this, but not clear. And then I want to get one that has like false gates in it and stuff like that, aka more of a security challenge. But let's do a quick rundown. So as you can see in there, if I hold it the right angle here, you should be able to see there's like, you see there's a little like, there's like discs with bumps on them. Those are the gates, and they curve around in a this motion on this lock. Different ones may vary. So what happens here is when you put this in, those little slices on that key that we saw at different angles are gonna, as you can see as I rotate, those little notches move in there, right? So the thing is that from point 0, when I turn, those wedges are going to move the different discs at different times. You can see some are moving earlier than others, and that's going to allow it to set into a bar, and you can hear that click when they're all lined up. And when they're all lined up, that means I can turn the entire cylinder here. And what that does is it pulls these ball bearings in, that's the actuator, so it releases the shackle, and if we pull on the shackle, the lock opens and we have an open. And what's neat about this is that it's like semi-key. Well, actually, I just undid that, but it's usually key retaining. But when it's in neutral, it's not key retaining, so the key can easily slip out like that. And this is interesting because Detainers is a type of lock system that I like to call security through obscurity. What that means is that There are actual security stuff for pin and tumbler locks, and pin and tumbler locks are the most common lock type you can find not only in the United States but around the world. I would say about 95 to 97% of all locks in the United States are these pin and tumbler locks. And then in Europe, just because there's a little bit more variety, especially with how common dimple locks are and stuff like that. Like in Western Europe, I'd say about 91 to 96% of all locks are, I would say, 87 to 91% of all locks are pin and tumbler locks. And in East Asia, even though there's even more variety than that, it's still like pin and tumbler locks are everywhere around the world. And there are security measures. You can have paracentric keyways. You can have different security pin designs, extra weird features in it, stuff like that. But a common way of doing security in the lock world is security through obscurity. Meaning, when you have a lockpicking kit like this, I can go in, and if I see a pin tumbler lock, I'm like, oh, I know what that lock is. So I'm just going to get my tension wrench. And I'm going to get my, where are you here? Here you are. You're kind of sandwiched in there. I'm getting a new case soon, everyone, so that's going to be a treat to myself. A new case with some new picks. I'm going to keep some of the picks in here because some of them are unique. But, like, I know, pin and tumbler lock, this is like 95% of most lock picking for me. I put my tension in, I take my, in this case it's a short hook, I get feel for the binding order, and then I move all the pins until they're in the correct position, and then I do the rest of the tension and it opens, right? Easy peasy lemon squeezy, and this is most of the locks you encounter. So after a while, when you pick these, especially when you know how to pick security pins and have like thin, these are called pin tumbler lock picks, or standard lock picks, for most of the stuff, you start feeling invincible, you feel like a badass, and then eventually you run into something like a Detainer lock, and you're kind of like, how do you do this? Like, I can't really put a tension wrench in there. It gets caught up. Like, it's not even deep enough, that's what she said, to go in here. There's nothing to tension. And even if I use a pick, like, how can I even move these? I can't even move the discs around with, like, what do you use? And it's literally because even though this is working on the same physics principles overall as this pin and tumbler lock, the design of this Detainer is so radically different that basically, even though I have a full, pretty good, complete kit here with 2 different tension wrenches of thicknesses and length, various a short hook and 25/15 millimeters, various rakes, hooks, ball and a half ball and snowball rake for wafer locks, and some unusual things. This stiletto here, and even this bypass reader. I even have freaking handcuff keys and stuff, but nothing in here will actually work on this Detainer lock. I don't have the right tools. And the big issue is that tool that I showed you earlier, the one that's from China. Again, actually, let me close up camera for this pun. Hold it like that. Come on, focus. You can focus. Hairy knuckles. There we go. China! That the only company that really makes, the only people that usually make these Detainer picks that I showed you earlier, the one that broke, is China. And one, they're not the best, highest quality, meaning they're prone to breaking like mine. And they're really shoddily put together. You also how small that thing is, even for my tiny, small hands, although thankfully they're bigger than Donald Trump's hands. It's hard to manipulate and stuff like that. Well, Sparrows, like they do, heard everyone's prayers, and it took them years. In the same way, for a while, the only place you could get dimple lock picks was either from, you had to import them from China or the UK, and now they sell Black Flag, which not only are dimple lock picks, but they're superb, awesome, professionally made dimple lock picks. So Sparrows has heard our prayers, and what we have to thank here is, as it says on the back, this is a collaboration between Bosnian Bill from Lock Lab and from Lockpicking Lawyer, who's also the same person who designed the Black Flags. And we've seen Bosnian Bill's Lock Lab channel and the Lockpicking Lawyer's channel, their YouTube channels, on our last episode, where we talked a lot about the various individuals, not all of them because there's way too many, but the various individuals and organizations in the lockpicking community. And just so you know, there's a running meme in the lockpicking community where for a while Lockpicking Lawyer and Bosnian Bill kept talking about the tool that I and Bosnian Bill made, or the tool me and Lockpicking Lawyer made. So this is the tool they're referencing to because it was kept under lock and key, for a while now. And now that meme is semi-dead because it's actually went to production. And let me show you what it is. And first of all, this case it's really solid. There's like a little bit of rattling. It takes one hell of a beating. I'm probably gonna wake up Jack when I do this. It's a really solid case. Nothing's gonna break. Nothing's gonna go in there. So, and I also like this weird. It's like a attach mechanism here, but it's not like overly done. So let's do a general opening, and then I'm gonna show you a close up of this. And unfortunately, I've wanted to put like gold colored LED, like yellow, like bright yellow LEDs in here with a battery. So when you open it up, it does the whole like glow thing from Reservoir Dogs, you know, where they open up the suitcase and it's like one of those. So here we go. There she is. I think I identify this as female. This is the Sparrows Detainer. If you were on our Instagram, literally in the first hour that we got it, I showed it off on there, but I figured for Twitch and the rest of you folks out there, I would show it off. And again, if you have any questions about what I'm showing off here, or if I'm going too fast or going too slow, or you have any cool comments, make sure you say them in chat. Otherwise, keep lurking and keep learning. Also, if you like the content that you see here right now on Masters of Unlocking, I'm actually going to move our icon a bit more in frame over here, since I think we're going to be in the close-up camera for the rest of this before the break. You can hit that bell, click like, share, and subscribe on Twitch, DLive, or YouTube. And whether you follow and subscribe us on those three platforms, or send us lemons on DLive, or super chats on YouTube, or bits on Twitch, we have notifications for them. They will pop up on the stream, and we will notice, and we will cheer you on, and thank you very much for them. We're also going to look in the near future, probably in November, of ways you can donate to us, so that way I have like near unlimited money to show off cool lock stuff for you. And one of the things I'm going to start doing, and extra cash will help, is I want to do giveaways where when you show up in chat, I enter you into a raffle, and you get to go home with some of the stuff that I show you, and you know, new broadcasting tools, like we really need like an O light and stuff like that. It's pretty cool stuff. So keep staying tuned for that. So as I said with this case, not only is it a sturdy case, but it's this really nice, it's not memory foam, but it's this really stiff foam that like makes sure, and it's like laser etched these shapes, so like there's no real space, like it's going to be a big pain when I get this guy out, so you really have to like nothing is I mean, I have these little two bits in here, so I don't really want to do this, but like if I do, well, that came out, like I did that super strong, but like it's really hard for things to come out of here. First thing that actually, before we get into this main tool here, is that there is a little, it comes with its own little tiny Allen wrench. And that is for a reason, because there's a lot of cool adjustability features on here, and it also has two more little screw sockets just in case you lose them. One thing I like about Sparrow is that they really think about like extras just in case you lose things, and that's what this side's also about, but we'll get to that in a moment. So now we're going to actually take her out, and I'll show you what this is. Now, see, that's what I mean. It's going to take a bit here. I'm used to using two hands. That's what she said. There we go. So here she is. This is the Sparrows Detainer. It's very like fake tactical black. And let's look at a couple of things here. So first of all, this thing is huge and it's really well built. I'm going to go grab the other Chinese one that's broken. Like, look at how tiny this thing is in my hands, right? Now look at the Sparrows one. See the size? This one is way more comfortable and easy to grip and hold as opposed to this guy. The other thing also, like I said, these things are cheap, so like, you know, if you notice the actual tensioning here, these are just like screws on a washer. And then it's like, when I spin it around, sometimes it sticks, sometimes it's way too smooth. With the Sparrows one over here, it's like, because I guess think of like the either the design, or I think there actually might be some like it's like weighted and like lubricated, you know, like how she likes it. Everything's really smooth, so the actual twisting motion of this is Oh, Vince, Jeopardy Jim, did you actually get a Twitch? Are you on Twitch now? Because that's gonna shock me. Otherwise, hi Jason Janovich. Yeah, it's super smooth. Like if I try to do the same spin thing here, like look at how not only it spins fast, but it's also consistent both ways. And you notice the dead stop. Like I say, it's hard to show this off on the stream, but it's just everything operates. It's like slow yet fast, aka it's professionally done. These handlebars are huge. Again, it's easier to grip. Another cool thing I like about this is that, well, first of all, there's a little notch here. So this will always line up with this flat end side of the head, and we'll get into the head of this in a moment. But where that point is at the top, see, it's like a little like eye. And where it is at the top, that notch is always aligned with it. So one, when you have this inside of a disc detainer lock, you know at all times where its orientation is. And you also know how deep it is, and you can probably figure out which disc you're on, because this entire inner tube length here has these sectors cut out into them in red. So if I can get this to focus properly, what's going to happen here, and again, this is because of like black on black, and we probably need better lighting systems in here. Actually, let me move over to the side to see if I can get this better. So what happens is that like I can figure out, it's like, okay, so that's the first disc, and then if I move, you see those three notches, I'm probably on the third disc right now. So not only do I know where I am at all times thanks to the notch in this grid system on the inner tube, but I could actually potentially decode where each disc goes, and that way when I go back to it, I can like write that down and instantly do the sequence, or go to a manufacturer, and as long as I know the type of key blank, I can get this key cut out similar to like a tubular lock impressioner and create a key, and then I don't have to pick it anymore. Really ingenious stuff. Some other things about this. So first of all, actually I'm going to get to that bit last. You'll notice this notch here. So this black notch, it's a little hard to see. It's like this little weird like half an H thing. That's what you stick in the front of the lock to tension. So it's similar to the other lock. So it's like when I put this flat, when you put this in a when you put this in the lock and then you twist it, the tension, when you go turn it, it's turning the whole core slightly, so that binds up the different bleh, I just blanked out. That binds up all the discs in there, just like you would with a tension wrench for a pin tumbler lock, and it starts picking. Now, depending on what manufacturer you get them from, it might be at different angles. Now, so what's really cool about this, and I'm going to adjust this again later, is that, so the same, and this is such like a cool hack where you use like one thing and it solves multiple functions. So these little grip wings here, so that I can do the tensioning, you can actually use force on them and they screw. And if you loosen the tension on each of them, you can actually adjust the angle of the tensioning piece. So you can line it up to, when you put all of the discs lined up properly, you can actually line it up with how the lock is oriented. Because the thing is, and I know I'm going to go back and forth with it, with these cheap Chinese locks, this is oriented one way. I can't ever adjust this. I'd have to physically turn the whole thing and kind of map it out. But with this, as I can see, because it's paired with this lock, the angle on this is slightly to the left. So what I could do is, let's say, which is actually how it came in, it was oriented like, let's see if I can bring it up more properly. One of these days I'm going to get like a proper HD camera that can also do like close-up zooms and stuff, and it's probably because of the lighting. There we go. So that's how it basically came in, like that, with the plug kind of done horizontally. But now that I've loosened this, I can turn it so it's like centered here, and then it was off, I believe, slightly. Let me look at the thing again off screen. Yeah, it's slightly to the right, so it's centered right politically. But I think she would still vote for Biden-Harris, even though he's not the best choice, because any form of government is better at this point. So now that it's at the alignment as that previous one, which means it'll work for this lock, I can tighten these in, and now it is properly aligned to that lock. So that's really cool. Another thing, if you haven't noticed, is that there's kind of a, like if I retract this properly, there's kind of a wedge in there. Like it's a U shape. And you'll notice that because on the base crappy Chinese one, it's just a generic kind of slot there. And a lot of disc detainers are those slots, but a lot of mid to high security ones actually have a notch in the front. So they've designed it where it works on both a notched disc detainer lock system as well as a slot one, which is neat. And again, we're going to go to the Allen wrench here. And this fits right into here, and that with some tension will allow me to adjust the screw in here. Now, what is that for? Well, we're going to get to probably its greatest strength and greatest weakness. And as the girls will say, the reason why she is a winner, and also for a little bit of concern, is her head game. That is the head tip that you manipulate the disc. And there's been a lot of controversy and contention on this. The first thing about it is that, like the thing that people realize, and actually it's Lock Noob that figured this out, so shout outs to him, is that the reason why it's this thin is this is designed mainly for mid to high security locks, which have false gates, meaning the actual discs are very thin, and the gates and the fake discs spaces are also thin. Basically, it has double the amount of, it feels like it has double the amount of disc. And so that's the actual width you need to do that with. So it's actually, ironically enough, hard to pick these low security locks, even though I'm going to try in a moment, with the Sparrows one. Because if you compare that to the broken head on the head on the Chinese one, you see how wide that Chinese one is? The Chinese has a wide head and the American one has a thin head. I know we're getting to all the innuendos. But that wide head is way more suited for low security locks because that thinner head that Sparrows has the potential to slip between, which I've had happen, these way bigger disc gaps. And because of that thinner head and the worry that it might break, the other thing that it comes with, which I think is genius, is they give you a spare disc detainer head. So if it ever breaks or like you take out that head and you lose it, they give you a spare one of these guys to put in, and that's what you would do. You would use the Allen wrench, and you would loosen the back of this, and then this can pull out, and you would slip this one in, and you're set. So again, I like that Sparrows really truly did thought of everything when it comes to most of their stuff and with this set. Now I'm gonna attempt to, possibly unsuccessfully again and briefly, and I'm not going to explain exactly how I do this. I am going to attempt on air, and I'm not going to use the close-up cam to pick this detainer lock. We're going to try it, and if it doesn't work, I'm going to go to a bit about the head bit, and we are going to then take a short break and then look at another thing. I told you this episode would be pretty quick. So let's go back to the browser, and I want to bring up something about why I feel very elitist about owning this Sparrows disc detainer, right? So this originally came out in February, and I didn't know about it until 2 days later. And when I went there, it was sold out. So what happened is that I waited, and thankfully my money came in, even though I was mad because I was like, oh, like I was like, yeah, I'll spend this much and have a few bucks, and then they're like, hey, it's secretly back on sale again, and I'm like, oh, F you, I know this. And so I'd spend more money than I'd like to, and I will tell you right now, normally it's $40 to $45, but if you notice, they're sticking a $1 million price tag on it because it is once again sold out. And like I said, last time it came out in February, so March, April, May, June, July, August, September. Yeah, if you count February itself, because I think it came out like late January, early February, that's 8 months it took for it to sell again, and I bought it before it now sold out. So I don't know if it's going to take another 8 months. I don't know if it's going to take a year, 2 years. I don't know if it's going to take in 2 months, 2 weeks, whatever. But ever since last September, it has been sold out again. So I would say, even if you're not into Detainer picks, this is the most best high quality, in my opinion, one you can possibly get. And so if you see it on Sparrows' website and it's actually available to sale, I don't care what prostitution you have to do to get the money, but buy it because they sell out really fast and then it takes forever to get in. So, you know, that's why I'm kind of extra babying this one, just because, like, I don't want to break all of it. So I'm going to attempt to pick this guy again. I'm going to attempt to actually use, if I can fit it. No, I can't fit this. I'm going to use a normal lockpick action. I'm going to use like a thick boy lockpick. I'm actually going to either use the big tension wrench, or this tab guy. Let me see. I'll use the thick tension wrench. And what you're going to want to do, and because we're going to do an entire episode that's nothing about disc detainer picks. So I'm still working on the craft of it, and I need to get some like normal disc detainers. So I'm going to go in, and what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to move all those discs, if I can, all to one side, so much that it doesn't turn anymore. And I think that's its limit right there. Yeah. And so now we're going to go in, place this one even, stick it, apply heavy tension. I'm going to go in and I'm going to start attempting to feel which discs I can move back or not. And again, it's tricky because I basically have to go like, I have to like basically put the thing in halfway. That's what she also said, because and I'm feeling this as well, it's really easy for me for this to slip between the different discs. So I'm having a hard time catching a lot of these discs because of how thin the head is. So I'm actually going to give up here before I start breaking anything. This is the safest way I can think of to do that, and then I just take the tension wrench. I'm also really tired because of New York and stuff. Because I thought I was going to be interviewing people today. I didn't think I'd be doing all this. And I'm just going to reset this and then just check the lock mechanism again. And it works. I'm also trying to experiment today because I set this to science and technology instead of making and crafting because of the second half. I'm probably going to set it back to making and crafting later on. So that was Sparrows Detainer. I highly recommend it. One, because of how incredibly rare this Detainer is, unfortunately, and how easy it is for it to run out. And also has really good high build quality. And if you are an experienced picker and are looking to defeat intermediary to advanced Detainer locks, and you're trying to get into more Detainer locks, or you want to step up your game and have like a real tool instead of those cheap Chinese ones, highly recommend the infamous tool that Bosnian Bill and lockpicking lawyer names the Sparrows Detainer lockpick. They, again, when they're not $1 million and thus out of stock, they normally sell between, I think I got this for $45, so basically plus the $5 shipping, it was like $50. But again, it's really high quality. You really get what you pay for and everything. Now, as I said, the major flaw of this for like the clear plastic lock, of like, oh, if I'm such an expert, why am I having a hard time picking the clear plastic lock, is because I'm not used to, this is the ladies joke. I am not, let's put this handcuff key up here. I am not used to hearing, I'm not used to the head being that thin. It's a little bit of a pencil dick, let's just say. So here's something really neat. Someone else who has noticed this flaw, and let's go back to the browser here. Someone else who has noticed this flaw is someone who I forgot to bring up on our previous episode, and that is Rook Knight. I'm actually going to copy his, I'm going to copy his profile here. And, hold on. What do you mean, really, though? Oh, you mean the joke earlier? Sorry about that. I always get into those sort of things. Because the problem with lockpicking is the same problem with doing, it's the same problem as doing, physical networking. in which you are going to end up with sexual innuendos, whatever what. So, Rook Knight. Super, super cool. This is his channel. Super cool person. You can also find him on Instagram at rook_knight. And he also got this, reviewed it, and had the same issue. And he actually broke the original head and is currently using the backup when he does high security stuff. So his thought, and he had a bunch of help with this, but it's so cool, is he figured out how to make a wide head Detainer lockpick, similar to the cheap Chinese ones, but still have it high quality that could fit and be usable in the Sparrows lockpick. I'm going to play this video. I will say that I am actually, and thank you, Rook Knight, for coming up with this solution here, and also thanks to whoever you sourced to help out with this, including, I think, finding the main thing you can get out of a hardware store to turn into the thick head pick. I'm eventually going to make this so that way I both not only have two of the Sparrows high-quality thin head picks for high security, but I have a thick head pick that I can use to pick the actual clear lock. So I'm actually going to do the break now. It's a 4-minute video, and you're going to watch how Rook Knight makes this, because it is really to be semi-British lock noob person, it is absolutely brilliant. So here's how you would make a thick boy at home.
Hey guys, Rook Knight here. Thanks for joining me. Today we're going to talk about how to turn these little ejector pins into a Sparrows Detainer pick head. So I'm going to throw some pictures on the screen here, and we'll go through it step by step on exactly the process I took to make them, and we'll show you a couple that I finished. All right, here we go. All right, so here is just an ejector pin. I wanted to show you a little closer up picture. This is what I use to hold it. It clamps it down tight and to make sure it doesn't move. Next, all I'm using here is just a Dremel tool, and I'm making sure I keep water on it constantly. Back to the Dremel tool and just trying to get it to sand down flat circle, almost like a nail. As you can see in this picture, it looks like just a nail. And then I go to sandpaper. And with the sandpaper, I'm just trying to buff out the circle to make sure it's even, making sure there's no higher edges on the circle. You can see here it almost looks like a nail now. This is a flat head. Next, I tape the shaft with some heavy-duty duct tape to make sure that I don't scratch it, and put it back into my device or anything I can hold, pliers, whatever you have, and start to take off one side just a little bit. Just want to take off a little bit off the side and then do the same thing to the opposite side, and constantly using water to make sure you cool it down. You don't want to overheat the metal at all. As you can see here, the sides are both getting evened off, and I don't touch the other two sides at all. So I just take down the two sides. You want to check the back and make sure you're even with the pole, and look at the front. When I get closer to the pole, I start to use sandpaper and usually water, because it keeps the metal cool, and then I'm able to buff it out and take out fine pieces of metal off of it, opposed to larger chunks, so I can do it very fine. And you can see it's starting to look like a nice rectangle. Then I start to go to 600 grit sandpaper, and I start to try to put more of a nice sharp edge on all four sides, usually with the water to keep it cool. Next, I'll fold the sandpaper and attack the sides that I didn't touch with the Dremel, just to fine them up lightly, because we really don't want to touch them. We'll need those length. And finally, these are my finished heads, and I think they came out pretty decent for my first run, and they're pretty simple to make. Alright guys, that's all I got, and I hope that gives you a little better idea on how to make your own Detainer tip for your Sparrows. Basically, there's a couple of different shapes in that you can also do. I know there's like almost looking like a half moon to the bow tie shape. The keyways, there's a lot of different keyways that you will come across, I've seen. Or just your standard regular rectangle. But that's the way I did mine, and it seems to work pretty well. I hope that helps you out, maybe makes you feel more comfortable to be able to start and do your own. And that's all I have for today. Hope everybody's doing well. Take care. Thanks, guys.
Hello again, it's Lock Noob, and today, well, we're not looking at this lock very much, we're looking at this lock, this Master Lock Pro Series 1178 4-dial combination padlock. Why? Well, I just haven't had a play with one of these yet, but I've had plenty of experience with it.
Sorry about that. Skipped ahead. Just give me one moment. I'm actually put this on AWK for now, so enjoy the music real quick. Yep, I thought I was on the camera. Hang on. Oh, that was the wrong thing. Hello, everyone out there. We are back again. Just give me one moment. I just want to throw this out there. Okay, awesome. So if you notice, we're at this position again. Sorry about that before. I thought I could do it in under 4 minutes, but you know, a lot of women don't like that, so that's kind of an issue there. But yeah, we're now back at this angle here, which is sort of the normal angle. And the reason why is because we're at the second part of the episode. I told you, everyone, this was going to be probably mostly short episode. This is probably also going to be the longest part that we're going to do. How long is it? Well, let's find out, because I'm going to do the usual and shrink myself down. And we're going to go look at something on the browser. So here we go. 3, 2... Oh, I shrunk down the wrong thing. That was the alert system. That would have sucked butt. Okay, let's try this again. Here we go. So I'm going to shrink my... Whoa! Okay, that was a little faster than how I normally feel. That's also what she said. Make this a little bigger, as she likes it. And browser. There we go. So, what's the second part here? Well, let me actually open up a browser window that I completely forgot to open up. And, can't spell... Cannot spell. There we go. So if you remember from the previous episode, sorry, our last meeting on Friday. See, I can't quite think. That's why I'm probably going to run off and eat something really quick while this video plays. We, let's see, officially only opt-in for projects and maintainers. Good. So, we were doing this thing called Hacktoberfest. Hacktoberfest, which is still going on. It's going to go on until the midnight, transferring from October 31st to November 1st. So when Halloween ends, like truly ends, like when it's actually midnight, or some would argue Halloween begins, that's when Hacktoberfest starts. And by the way, if you can't hear me, or I'm too loud or whatever, please let me know. If you also have any questions about what I'm talking about, various lockpicking, hacking, my crazy hair, why am I made in Jersey City, which we are DEFCON 201, we're located in Jersey City, New Jersey, and hence the 201, because 201, OG area code. I'm going to take a sip of water for that. Don't be afraid to ask us questions in chat. I love talking to the chat out there. Otherwise, keep lurking, keep learning. And speaking of learning, if you want to know more episodes of Master of Unlocking, I'm going to move my logo back into this corner over here. If you want like more updates for Master of Unlocking, I know the next one's going to be on November 1st. That's probably when we're going to be interviewing Lockpick AR instead of today's episode, which I'm really excited about, and I know they're excited about too, which is a cool hacker lockpicking group from Argentina, and or you just adjust this slightly. There we go. That looks slightly less worse. And you also want to check out some of our other shows, such as Hack All and Commander, which will be next Wednesday, if everything goes correctly, or G.I. Jack's Archfile Linux Perspective, which has a really cool episode coming up this Thursday, or my other show, Crypto Barons, where we're going to be looking at the Brave browser, and I look at cryptocurrency and blockchain technology as technology instead of snake oil stuff. Let me take a sip of water before I go into this part. Man, going to New York makes you dehydrated. But you can hit that bell, click like, share, subscribe on Twitch, D Live, or YouTube. And thank you for that rock Satan horns there, Jason. And you can follow us or subscribe to us or however the platform we're on, Twitch, D Live, or YouTube. We're going to be looking at Facebook soon. Not Facebook gaming, because that sucks, but like general Facebook. And if you do so, we do get alerts for that. Same thing if you send us bits on Twitch, lemons on DLive, or super chats on YouTube. We see those on our stream. You'll see them too. And we like to cheer you on. It helps us and it supports us out. And we haven't monetized anything yet. So we're literally doing this as educational material to get out there for you folks. We just want you to keep lurking and keep learning or interact and chat. As long as you learn something from this, even from our mistakes, everything's good. Wow, I'm getting really dehydrated right now. So let's get into this. So what we've been doing since starting yesterday is Hacktoberfest, which is going to end midnight, October 31st, midnight. It will technically be November 1st. That's when it ends. And what it is, it's a very cool way to contribute to open source software. There's going to be a reason why I'm talking about this. It will relate to lockpicking in a moment. It's mainly presented by, it's normally run by DigitalOcean. They always usually have sponsorships each year. This year it's Intel and the dev form systems. And what you do is, and this is the new update, thankfully, so it doesn't end up on the Shittoberfest YouTube, is it's only opt-in if it's tagged with Hacktoberfest. Individual pull requests can also be directly opt-in to Hacktoberfest with the Hacktoberfest accepted label on any public hub repository. So without the need for a Hacktoberfest repository topic. But yeah, anyone that's labeled Hacktoberfest, and we're going to be labeling this one as this soon, you do a git pull request on and do something meaningful. Make the code run smoother, get rid of redundancies, make parts of it actually work by correcting the semicolons in it, add documentation if it doesn't have it, fix the documentation if it's unlegible or only has like 2 sentences that barely explain what it is and how to actually install the frickin' thing. And what you need to do is you need to do a git pull request. When you sign up for Hacktoberfest and you link your GitHub to it, when you do the git pulls, you will, after you do 4 of them, you see this t-shirt over here? They have one in white and one in black. You will get that in the mail, provided you do it before the end of October 31st. And it's really neat. We played the video earlier. I'm not going to do that now. You can check our last meeting last Friday if you want to know more. You can tell I'm running on like a lean mixture right now, but yeah, it's open to everybody. Like I said, we did an event last time. There's a lot of different open source coding projects. There's also a lot, not only on climate change, but especially for COVID-19. And there were global events everywhere, including ours. And yeah, and they have their own Discord channel. It's pretty cool. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up, and I'm going to preemptively click this, is because, yep, and actually I should just do this right now. I'm going to authorize it, because I didn't do that before. And we are good. Let's see, please select which email address. I'm going to fill this out later while we're watching the other video. But what we're going to do is there's a really, really cool project by an employee by IBM named Tiffany Cheesum, who's she's into physical security, called houdinID, kind of spelled, it's like a weird half leet speak spelling of Houdini. And I could go into explaining, and I'll share her GitHub page in a moment. I'm actually going to share it while this video plays. I could talk about how this program works, but what I'm going to do instead, and it's entirely in JavaScript, is she was actually at ShellCon, which is a hacker convention out in Los Angeles, which is it's a hacking convention that more focuses on like the coding side of stuff and a surprisingly amount in social engineering. but she was there and they were digital this year. And so I have her entire talk from ShellCon right here. So I'm trying for a t-shirt, but I'm a total noob. I only have one pull currently, learning Ruby, and this is my only programming experience. Again, if you do a proper Git pull on documentation, depends on if the repository person accepts the pull, but as long as they accept the pull, it's going to count towards there. So if you want to spruce up documentation, go ahead. Also doing this may also allow you to learn a different language. Or, for example, here's something crazy you could do, because I've actually seen this happen. What if the things in like Python or like, God forbid, like C++ or Rust or something, but because you know Ruby, you know how to write the entire program better in Ruby. Do a pull request and make an entire Ruby variant, for example. I'm also someone who programs in Ruby primarily, even though I know how to read and manipulate a lot of programming languages, but particularly Python. So because they're like cousins. So yeah, there's a lot of ways to get involved. And again, we have our own GitHub. I'm actually going to put our GitHub in the chat right now. But if you are on Twitch, you can scroll down on our profile and let me type this out. If you are on Twitch right now, you can scroll down, and one of our little boxes is actually our GitHub, and we actually have pinned this houdinID. She did say that she was completely open for Hacktoberfest submissions. Make sure in the comments when you do the pull request to mention that you're doing this for Hacktoberfest if you do Git pull her thing, because we're going to attempt to do that, by the way, today. And the keyword is attempt. And I'm going to preemptively move our logo up in the corner over here, because once it starts playing, it might get in the way. And what's going on is, I just mentioned it's Hacktoberfest because she can put it in the response label for it and it should count. Otherwise, I'm going to show her how she can hop into Hacktoberfest properly. But she's told us on Twitter that she would love for it to be featured, and she's totally down for Git pull requests on this, because you're going to hear at the end of the talk, she's really putting out there that this program, it's not that it's broken, but it needs a lot of work. It just basically just got off the ground. And we're going to, again, try to run it, and we're going to see if we can possibly do a Git pull request, depending on how sober I am. I haven't been drinking, but it's just this whole day and this whole weekend. It's been busy, but really productive. Really good stuff. And I'm so happy everyone here is watching this. And if you're new here and you want to get updated, you can like us, subscribe to us again on Twitch, D Live, or YouTube, and we'll see it. Thanks, I'll check it out. But yeah, I'm going to post the exact link to the project. So this is the houdinID. Actually, you know what I should do before that? Let me let me put the homepage for Hacktoberfest itself, because that honestly, I just realized I made a weird kind of semi-error here, because many of you might not know. I mean, you could probably type into the search engine for DigitalOcean Hacktoberfest, but just in case, here's the Hacktoberfest homepage in chat. And like I was going to do earlier, I'm going to type in the houdinID, as I like to call it, or Houdini GitHub, where you can look and do pull requests from. Because it's a very cool thing with locks that she's doing. It's basically an application of how to ID lock types. It's really awesome. But don't take my word for it. I'm going to let Tiffany herself talk about it. I've seen this talk before. I'm going to jump away. I'm not going anywhere, but I'm going to on camera jump away for a couple of minutes just so I can eat something so I'm not a half zombie. But then I'm going to come back on, put headphones. I'm going to watch it with the rest of you. And then we're going to attempt to see if we can A, run this program, and B, if we can do, if we can find anything to modify or fix or do a bug report, we'll do a pull request, and that will be my first ever pull request on this thing. So without further ado, let's hear Tiffany explain what houdinID is, and I'm so grateful that she really wants us to be featured on the show. Here we go.
Right on. Thanks so much. And thanks everyone for tuning in to ShellCon this beautiful morning. Like you said, I'm Tiffany Cheesem. I'm an apprentice with X-Force Red. And yes, houdinID is what I will be talking to you about. It's a mobile lock ID and security ranking application that I've been developing. It exists to help physical pen testers quickly identify and attack locks in the field, to help consumers make informed choices about locks, and also to provide the lock research community with an open source database of locks. Okay, so why are we going to be talking about all of these locks? Well, like I said, there's an importance to consumers. You know, we got to lock up our valuables. But what about to the physical pen testers? What is the application here for in the realm of cybersecurity? So I think that this describes it pretty well. It says, don't think of a lock as a means of keeping people out, but rather as a means of slowing them down. And that's true for our pen testers as well. Pen testers have a lot to do. They have to get past physical security. They have to social engineer their way past Hank, who just isn't sure he does recognize you. And then finally get to whatever assets are trying to be exploited. So when a physical pen tester is in the field on the job, they're looking at a lock and they're thinking, can I pick it? Can I bypass it? Am I wasting my time? They might have to do a lot of experimentation to figure out what's the best attack for a lock, or even if it's what they should be doing at that moment. And when they're under a lot of pressure, it could feel a little bit like this. So if we can help physical pen testers spend less time picking, then they will be under less stress and they will be able to spend more time hacking. And that will translate into them being able to give clients more feedback on what the state of their security is. So what are the currently available resources for lock identification and also finding out what type of attacks are possible against locks? And these are resources both for physical pen testers and consumers. So there are a lot of resources on YouTube, some really wonderful people who do a lot of picking locks and talking about their mechanisms and possible attacks and bypasses. And there's also some online resources like LockWiki. LockWiki is an open source wiki page that provides a lot of information, and it has a good starter data set, but a lot of the data is incomplete. So in some cases, you'll have locks that might have some information about their design, but no information about possible attacks. So we can expand on that. So there's an opportunity here. There's an opportunity to create tooling and grow an open source data set of locks. So that's what I've been working on. I've been developing, like I said, houdinID. I've been developing it in React Native. It relies on a decision tree to narrow down results when you're trying to identify a lock, and then also provides intel on lock vulnerabilities. So I chose to develop it in React Native because I wanted it to be usable for both Android and iPhone users. And I also wanted all of the data to be stored locally so that even if someone's in some basement somewhere and they don't have Wi-Fi connectivity, they can still use this app to help them. Okay, so lock classification is sort of the biggest hurdle here, or one of them. There's lots of locks and we just want to know, what is it? So in looking into this, I found that there are a ton of different attributes that could be used to identify locks, and some are more helpful than others. This is probably going to be really tiny on your screen, but this is a giant decision tree from early on in the process, one of my first attempts. And it begins with lock configuration rather than lock mechanism. And by configuration, I mean, like, is it like a key in knob, you know, basically like door lock or a padlock or something else. And you get really too much repetition in possibilities in the decision tree to make it efficient. So my current decision tree looks a little bit more like this. It breaks it down by mechanism, and it has a lot fewer steps to a final result. And this is an example screen of sort of the quiz that you'll be taken through to traverse that decision tree. So you can see that the first steps here are mechanical. I have magnetic in here. It's not in the app yet. Electronic, hybrid. So that would be one of your first questions. And then hopefully it would take you to the end of the tree where you've got an actual short list of possible locks. And just to be totally transparent, I absolutely did base this in design off of a birding app because I love birding. So props to all y'all out at Cornell Lab of Ornithology that developed Merlin Bird ID, because that helped me conceptualize this a lot. Okay, so you've identified your lock. What more can we tell you, right? So it's time for some attack advice. Just as a note, destructive entry is not usually in scope for consulting engagements, but it is still important to know for real life. If you can't see this, it says lockpicking, a subtle and proud art, long since rendered obsolete by the broad axe. So our main categories of attack advice are bypass, pick, or bail. Bypass, in essence, is a little bit like this. Can you get around the mechanism? Can you literally do a reach around? Can you pick it? More traditional picking that we're all familiar with. Or is the foe just too formidable and you need to try something else, run away, go in a different door, find someone who'll let you in? So I'm going to show you guys a little demo here. And right now, this is totally a proof of concept. It's a minimum viable product. There are definitely things that will need to be changed with both the user interface and yeah, like how the data is presented. But just to give you a sense, so you'd start lock ID, say that you have this lock in your hand. You can see that it's a mechanical combination lock. There's multiple dials and there's an engraving on it. And, you know, if you find the one that matches, then you'll be provided with some vitals, a difficulty rating, and then more information about the lock. So what you see here is a very generic difficulty rating. And in the future, actually currently I'm developing a more sophisticated difficulty rating that actually may be patented. We'll see, sort of patent pending right now. But this still gives you the gist, right? Like if you get a rating that's like, this lock is very, very secure, then you might not want to waste your time picking it. Or from the consumer's standpoint, you might want to totally buy that lock because it'll essentially buy you more time to keep your stuff safe. So with this one, we can see with this medium difficulty rating, you know, it has no known bypass. It does have some anti-picking features. And then I'll just let it go. Maybe skip a little bit ahead. So if you have this Abloy lock that is a cylinder lock, and you can tell it's this Detainer because of the keyway, that's another thing that in the future, I'd like to be able to click that little question mark and say like, okay, what does it mean to be this Detainer lock and how can I tell from the outside? But anyway, you can see in this one, it has a lot more security features. And so the difficulty rating for picking would be harder, or the security ranking would be higher. And then you have more information about that lock in specific and how it works. So I think here I just go into a few more features of the app. You can search. You can also, I'm just going to skip ahead here. You can also look at bypasses. So this is something that I'm working on right now with Sean Percy, and he is providing me with some videos that can be turned into GIFs that will show you how to use these bypasses. So this will be a nice little reference, because in the field, it's more likely that you'll actually use a bypass than pick a lock. And then there's going to be the possibility of contributing with a Git pull. So I will go into that more in the future in this presentation. Okay, so speaking of the future, we've got some possible improvements and extensions to this project. So right now, you know, we've got this decision tree, we're using open source data, and we have a generalized security ranking. Phase 2 I see is starting basically today, inviting community contributions via GitHub and making a more robust ranking algorithm, which I'm working on. And then the third phase would be automated integration of user data contributions and also adding QA image recognition. So lock security rankings is something that we talk about now. So the importance to consumers and clients is, people want to buy a lock that's actually going to keep their stuff safe. They need reliable information, and frankly, manufacturers don't always provide that. You don't want to think that you're getting this and actually be getting this. So there are some rankings already out there. UL 437 is probably the most applicable one from Underwriters Laboratories. So that standard is based on an attack performed within a certain time frame, meaning that they will attack a lock and say like, okay, if it can withstand, sawing or something for 10 minutes, then, it passes that part of the ranking. But they don't consider a lot of things. So for instance, they are tested for resistance to picking, impressioning, and forced entry of different types. But they don't talk about mechanical bypass techniques or RF or things like that. Yeah, just an example. Does it have resistance to pulling? Not this one. And this lack of taking mechanical bypass into account was noted by Tobias and Fiddler in their 2014 DEFCON talk, High Insecurity, Locks, Lies, and Liability. So they noted that there are a lot of things like shimming, key bumping, or using other things like radio frequency that just aren't even considered in that UL 437, and those are commonly used techniques. So a proper lock security ranking would need to take them into account. This is obviously how RF works. So another part is key control compromise. If there is a master key that can open everything and someone gets their hands on that, then everything is, can be compromised. Or, if there's something that's often key to like taxis and police cars, that increases their risk of being compromised. And the third thing is considering the popularity and ease of attack. This is something that I wanted to incorporate. So if an attack is possible, but it's really, really hard, then it's less likely that people are going to use it. But if it's really easy to get their hands on the tools, if it doesn't take a lot of specialized skill and knowledge, and if it's really inconspicuous, then that's a higher risk attack. So for instance, like key bumping doesn't require expensive tools. There's a low degree of skill required, and it's not like it's really loud or visually striking. So that is, I would say, higher risk. Something like melting, on the other hand, it's going to require some specialized tools, or going to require tools, but ones that aren't super specialized. You could go buy them pretty easily. It requires a very low degree of skill, but it's very conspicuous. If someone sees you melting a lock, hopefully they're going to ask you what you're doing, which as a pen tester would sort of ruin the game. So I also want to make a ranking system or rating system that is more comparative. With UL 437, it's sort of like you either meet that standard or you don't. And I would like a system that says, okay, comparatively, how secure is this lock? I'm giving a little more granularity to it. Okay, so I've been developing a possible model for this, figuring out what needs to be taken into consideration and what elements influence that category. So this will take some crunching of numbers that I'm working on. Right now I'm working with assigning a score to lock hardiness, so anything that contributes to the security of the lock. And then also assigning a score to attacks that are applicable to that lock. So as you can see here, with shimmer wire, it's got a high score of 4, meaning that it has, it's more high risk because it is an easier and much more possible attack for people to do. So once again, this algorithm right now is very simplified, but it's something that may eventually be patented. But the application itself will still be open source. I would also like to calculate data confidence. If someone submits something and they say, you can attack this lock in this way, verifying it by documentation, reputation, or actually testing will allow us to assign a confidence level to that data. Okay, so one more thing. We mentioned earlier identifying locks by image recognition. So keyways are a pretty good way. They are unique identifiers of locks to a large degree. So one way to do this is through edge detection. A user can upload an image of a keyway. We can run edge detection on that image, align it, overlay them, and then calculate a % difference between the edges there. The problem with this is that it works really well if it's a really perfect photo of a keyway, but even slight changes in angle or lighting can throw this off. So AI would be a pretty good solution to this. The thing that would need to happen for this to be possible is to obtain a large labeled data set. We would need lots and lots of images of keyways that are also labeled, which, as far as I know, that there's not an openly available one of those at the moment. And so that brings me to probably my most important point, is that this is meant to be a community project. This is something that I think could really benefit the whole community.
Thank you, Drifter XD, for following us on Twitch.
We're calling for contributions. You can contribute code, making a Git pull request at this link. And you can also upload data of lock images and any information you have about them to this Google form, and then I would incorporate it into the app. This is something that I think could really be beneficial to everyone. So if you are willing to contribute anything, or if you have any questions, just reach out to me. I think this could be a really cool thing to collaborate on. So I just want to give some special thanks to hackers Dan Crowley, Wolf, Chicken Man, Sean Percy, Snow, and Ray Sims, and also potentially you. And thank you very much. I wish you all successful lockpicking in one try.
Okay, so that was her talk right there. I'm just going to pause it now. Getting brain freeze. Drink the water too fast. Oh, I'm also not here. Hang on a moment there. Ta-da! We just solved that problem. So, that is what she's trying to do with houdinID, or Houdini. And basically, it's like a hybrid, from what I understand, this when it's final form, but when it's not even its final form, but its final form is going to be a combination of like the lock wiki centralized into an app, as well as sort of like, if you've ever seen the program Kimi, which I have on my phone, but oh, I actually have my phone above here, so like, oh, I almost dropped a giant object on my head. Like, that never happens in this apartment. Let me just actually kill a function on here, and I'll show you what I mean. And do I actually, wait a minute, do I have Kimi on here? I don't think unfortunately, I don't think I have it on here. I don't think, maybe I do? No, I don't. Oh my god, out of all the things that I don't have Kimi on here. Wow. But anyhow, Kimi is the application for your phone which allows you to take a clear picture of a key, and then it gets sent off to Kimi, and they will cut that key for you with that key blank and then mail it to you. And so that's what she kind of wants to do, but with lockways. So if you're like, encounter a lock and you're like, what is this? You take a picture of it, and it uses AI algorithms and stuff and tries to figure out like where can it be located, and then it then finds it in the database. Or if the data is not there, you can send that data over, and it will figure out which lock system is what. So using a picture, you can figure all of that out. And no, what am I can't win. Let's do it the professional way. There we go. OBS gets confused occasionally. So where's this guy? Does that look mostly fine? I think I have to shrink it slightly. Oh, nope. Just doing some light cosmetics here, as the Jeffree Star stands would say. There we go. So that's what she wants to do. She wants to create an encyclopedic app for locks, which I think is absolutely brilliant, because there's Lock Wiki, but you have to manually look at it. It's incomplete. She wants to make a comprehensive one in app form, and I also want to note that if you see me bolt at one point, I am cooking dinner right now, and I will eat soon, so just to be a note of that. So let's go back to her. Nope, that's the wrong thing. There we go. So let's go back to, and this is her bio and stuff. You can, by the way, just if you ever want to reach out and contact Tiffany here, you can find Tiffany. You can find her on Twitter at this URL at catacorn_sun. So I just put that in the chat. And what we're going to do now is we're going to look at the code for it. And we're going to see if we can try to run this fucking thing. And then we're going to kind of see maybe if we find something off with it, we might be able to do a pull request. So before I get into that, I'm actually going to do the spiel and turn the browser off while I go and make sure I'm properly registered on Hacktoberfest, just in case. So again, let's see here. So if you really like this material here, and you want to see like some of the upcoming shows like Archvile Linux Perspective, or this is what N Commander must feel like. Holy crap, with this being tired. But yeah, who's currently snoring right now? Archvile Linux Perspective, which will happen this Thursday at 8 p.m. Hack All N Commander, which will be next Wednesday. I believe that is the 28th of October at 8 p.m. We also are going to, that was a burp. We are also going to, I also have my show Crypto Barons this Saturday, where we look at cryptocurrency technologies as technologies, and we're going to look at the Brave browser and the BAT authentication token. And we should have a special stream on October 30th, the night before Halloween, that hopefully will be announced soon. You can click that bell and hit follow, share, subscribe on Twitch, DLive, or YouTube. If you do follow us or subscribe to us on there, whatever their option is, and or send bits via Twitch, lemons via DLive, or super chats via YouTube. We what do you call it? There we go. I'm just reading about the guidelines here, the don'ts and do's. Contributing file. We have to make one of those. Here we go. If you do send those, we will, here we go. Come on. Click. Do you actually have to watch this? Oh my god. Okay. So, I'm going to play the video in the background here. But yeah, before, if you do any of those, if you send us bits, lemons, or super chats on Twitch, Live, or YouTube, I'm turning it to Donald Trump here with his absent-mindedness, or follow us on any of those platforms. We do see the notifications for them, and we cheer you on because we think it's an absolutely awesome thing. So let's turn the browser back on, and let's look at this code. Now, the way this is supposed to work, I've never done this before. Let's see. There's no contributing file. I might work with her to try to make one. So yeah, how to contribute. Basically, you make a git pull. She says, you like to contribute code, make a git pull request. If you like to add the data set of locks, submit photos, information. There's a form which I already have open that we might fill on air. We might put that out there later. Yeah, that's apparently what it is. Houdini is a mobile application written in React Native. It currently runs best in the emulator with Expo coming to test flight and the Android app soon. An emulator with Expo. So what we're going to attempt to do, and I don't know how well this is going to work, is I do have Expo here. And we're going to try to do this. Let's see how quickly you can turn ideas. Universal apps installing before it's a thing. Okay. Oh, this is kind of like what it looks like. Oh, so it's basically like Konami. Sorry, not Konami. It's basically like VS Codium, but in browser form. That's kind of neat. Okay. So I get what they're doing here. So I'm going to leave the page. So the first thing we need to do, which I don't know if we have this installed, but I'm going to do this anyhow, is we need Node.js running. And, because of the way we have to stream this, we are running on Windows, hence why you always see me use Linux emulators. Nice! They have a Black Lives Matter tag. Let's actually read this. Oh, wow, they list all the names. Okay, I have now, as much as JavaScript drives me crazy, I now honestly have a whole new appreciation for Node.js. Wow, thank you, Node.js. That's really good on you. built on Chrome's V8 JavaScript engine. So most users' latest features. Actually, that's a good question in chat. Should we go for the LTS one, or should we go for the current one that might not be fully stable? I'm leaning towards LTS because, again, most users, and I think if this fails for most users, that's already a significant flaw in the application that she built. So I'm gonna give it a minute in chat, and if no one decides, I'm gonna decide for everyone. So I'm gonna play the Jeopardy theme. Do 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 do. While I check updates. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Boom boom. So yeah, I don't think anyone replied to that because I think everyone's kind of just I guess everyone really likes me singing. I'm gonna go for the LTS one. So I'm gonna save that file and install it. And you're probably not gonna see the install. I'm gonna see. Did that video get? No, this video is still playing. Oh my god. Why don't they... Can I skip forward in the video? Okay, so... It ends. The video ends. Just end. Just end already. Yeah, see, full video. It's like I already know how to do this for the most part. So now I can click on those. We'll go back to that video in a moment because I'm going to need a slight guide for this. But yeah, let's go back to Node.js, and it should be finished downloading. So now we're going to do install. Hopefully, let's see. Executable files, blah blah blah. I trust them for now. Hopefully this does not require me to like restart my computer. What you're not seeing is me doing the installation for this. Let's see. Oh cool, already installs npm, so we might be able to just, because I'm going to have to add a terminal in here in a moment. Automatically install necessary tools. This will also install Chocolatey, which I actually haven't done yet, so that'll be neat. So now we're going to do install. This is going to take a minute, and hopefully this will not kill the entire machine. So that's kind of going on. While we do that, let's look at pieces of the Hacktoberfest video here that's relevant. Let's hear what they have to say here in this tutorial video.
By the end of this tutorial, you'll be ready to submit your first pull request and will be well on your way to participating in Hacktoberfest. Before we begin with Git and GitHub, let's talk about version control. When developers work on a project together, oftentimes they'll need to work on the same code base. While they're working, each developer needs to know about what changes the other dev made, so as not to duplicate work or write code over what has already been done. A version control system serves as a saving program for the code, where it assigns a version to a project and tracks changes made over time to each file in the project. In this way, developers can work together on a project by checking in with the latest version to see the changes made before working on their portion of the project's code. Git, a version control system used to manage developer projects. For the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to use our Haiku repo. If you're following along with me, we've provided the link in the transcript for you to clone this repo as well. So I found a repo that looks interesting to work on that I can contribute meaningful content to. Remember, each of the pull requests you submit for Hacktoberfest should contribute to an existing repo in a way that helps the project to thrive. Take some time to pick one that resonates with you before starting. Alright, before I clone this repo, that is, take a copy of the code here on GitHub onto my local machine, I want to take a copy of the whole repo into my own GitHub account. To do this, I'll make a fork of the repo. It's like I'm taking a bite of it, a copy that I count. A link to download and learn more about that interface is available as a resource. In the terminal, I'm going to enter git clone. This command will clone or copy the copy that I just created from the Haiku repo down to my local machine. This will enable me to make changes to the code base locally or on my own machine to upload to the cloud remotely. Awesome. So we have the Haiku repo down on our local machine, and now we're ready to make a change.
Our
Using the
co-founders
command line
looks like, you know,
interface,
now.
I'm going to navigate to the folder of our cloned repo, Haiku repo, by using CD, or change directory, IDEs, or integrate, while Visual Studio Hacktoberfest resource page. Now, in a situation where I'm in an unfamiliar code who are collaborating on this project will know what my changes are. In this way, everyone can be informed of changes that are made. This message is tracked along with the commit ID in my username so other developers know who added this change. After committing, I'll need to push my changes from my local machine to the remote repository on GitHub. To do this, I'll execute the command git push. Here, we can designate an origin for the push. In this instance, we want it to go straight to the main repo that I forked from the source Haiku repo. So far, we've identified a repo that we'd like to edit. We took a copy of the repo onto our GitHub account and local machine using fork and clone. We then made a change and submitted our change with git add, then solidified our change by running git commit, which committed the change, and git push, and solidified and local machine using fork and clone. We then made a change and submitted our change with git add, then solidified our change by running git commit, which committed the change, and git push, which pushed our change from the local machine to the remote repository on GitHub. If we look on GitHub now, we'll see that the change we made is reflected in the files in our copy of the repo. Exciting! We're now ready to let the maintainers of the project know that we have a change to the repo that we're confident about and ready to submit. To do this, we'll click the pull request button here to the right. After the pull request button is clicked, a new page will open with a form that explains the changes we made and shows if the changes made will in any way conflict with the existing content. We'll add in an appropriate title that details the change, and in the description add an explanation of what changes were made and why. What you add here can vary depending on the project. Take a look at the project's collaboration guidelines to make sure your pull request is formatted correctly. After adding in that information, we'll scan the PR page to make sure that our
Oddly enough, I think this video has a lag. Yeah, the video itself has a lag. That is so unusual. Anyhow, so we're done with that video. Let's click the start hacking. And that should fully sync me to Hacktoberfest finally. Contributions. So that will be maturing a bit. So it seems like I've already done 2 of these. Legends, improved, invalid, accepted. I guess we're going to have to accept the 2 that were changed on our end. So now I know. So we did 1 of 4. So that's already counts. That's good. All right. So let's go back. As you can see, what I added here, which I'm going to turn back on, is where are you? Node.js. Sorry, I'm like running on half energy here, but I do this all for you folks out here. Plus, I'm just highly curious. So let's see. We're now doing the native module install script. If it fails, they said to close all the relevant programs, but hopefully this won't kill the stream. Okay, so now AIIS, and it should start doing its, yes. Oh, cool, we're doing PowerShell now. I love this because since it's like changed screen size, it looks like we were getting hacked there, but we weren't. It was just a changed screen size. So that's currently going on right now, and it's going to finally install Chocolatey and stuff, which is something I actually should have done a while ago. So that's going off now. And while all of that is going on, hopefully it doesn't kill the entire stream. Again, props to Node.js for the Black Lives Matter thing. Like, I was really impressed by that. I was not expecting that at all. Again, if you like the stuff that you see here, you can hit like, share, subscribe on Twitch D Live or YouTube. If you follow or subscribe to us on those platforms, as well as send us like bits on Twitch, lemons on DLive, or super chats on YouTube. We can see you and cheer you on. That will also get you notifications and updates, as well as our website and social media has information on this for some of our upcoming shows, such as our next meeting. And again, we meet every third Friday of the month, so our next meeting will be on November 20th. So it's a week before, it should be, yeah, it's a week before Thanksgiving, and more frighteningly, a week before Black Friday. Oh my God. I think it's going to be our last themed meeting. I know what the theme is, but I'm not going to announce it yet because I have to message the people that I want to get involved with that tonight and tomorrow and see what they want to do with it here. So that should be, if we get to do this theme, it'll be our last themed meeting for a while. And in December, we're going to have a giant potpourri thing, and you're going to see a lot of like my projects and G.I. Jack's projects and Cyricella and Commander and Squirtle and other people's projects that they've been working on over the years. Up now we're doing file extraction on here. But yeah, that will be, our next meeting will be on November 20th, aka the third Friday of every month. Next month is also nuts because November has like slightly over 5 weeks in it. Yeah, so it has four weeks and 2 days. So we're actually going to have 3 Master of Unlockings next month. So Sunday, November 1st, November 15th, and November 29th will all be Master of Unlocking. So that's going to be a lot of Master of Unlocking episodes. I want to just check something here with December. What was that? 29th. Yeah, then it's back to 2. But yeah, November's a freak. We're going to have 3 Master of Unlockings, which makes me excited. Again, I have a bunch of gear that I have ordered in and stuff. So, I get to step up my game. It should be really fun. And, what are some of the other shows? Again, this Thursday, so October 22nd at 7 p.m. will be Arch Vile Linux Perspective. It's going to be Halloween themed. Arch Linux Perspective is done by our co-founder G.I. Jack. He has made his own custom version of Arch Linux called Ninja OS. And yeah, it's like pretty advanced stuff. He knows like Arch better than most people I know, or basically anybody in my opinion. And he knows it inside and out. He likes to show off his system, and he also likes to show doing things on that system. And the big thing that he usually likes to do on Arch Linux is play video games. And so usually the show starts off with him showing about an aspect in Arch Linux, whether it's like package management or trying to get a program to run or doing cryptography or just something. And then he will go into a video game. And sometimes a video game is just something he wants to play, but sometimes it's related. And I can tell you that this Thursday on the 22nd at 7 p.m., he is going to do something that is not only Halloween themed, but the Arch Linux stuff he's going to do is going to get the game he wants running on it. And if you are, I will put it this way, if you're into first-person shooters and you're into like crazy personalities playing equally crazy video games, I think you're going to like what you see, as well as you're going to learn like some really cool hacks of how to like get video games to run directly on your Linux system, Arch or otherwise. Then on the 28th, which is next Wednesday, should be the next episode of Hack All and Commander, if I remember correctly. Or is it this Wednesday? I'm trying to think about this. So I'm trying to think when he had it. I think he did it on the 14th. I think that's last week. So it should be on the 28th because he's bi-weekly now. So I believe on the 28th at 8 p.m. is Hack All and Commander, and I know that N Commander has more boxes of retro stuff. Some that are coming in the mail, some that Cyricella have found and dropped off. And it's going to be really fun stuff. So yeah, that's kind of what we had. Oh, and on the 30th, going into the 31st, I can't tell you the details yet, but we're going to be doing a special stream. A couple months way back, like I think May and in June, we had 2 charity runs, and we're going to do a new charity run in November, I can tell you that. Maybe December, but definitely November. One was for Fred Hutch, which was for COVID stuff, and because there's a second wave, we're probably going to do another COVID charity again. That's not going to be November's charity, but, we're probably going to get going to that again. But the other thing about it, and now it's bootstrapping, the other thing about it is, and the other one was the Trevor Project, which is, it's for LGBTQ people, especially for LGBTQ plus ally people of color. and everyone's kind of going crazy right now. So, like, like that was important for people. But we made 2 promises during the May one. I offered that if we reached our goal of 400, we would torture End Commander on air, and then I offered in June if we reached the 800, because we doubled it, I would be tortured on air. And let's see, we hit both of those. I'm shocked because you folks are amazing out there. We might not be like Ninja or Pokeonomy or what's a popular tech one. We're not Twit TV, even though I like them a lot. We're not we're not Nahamsec. We're not the Mini Hats as much as all these people are awesome, except for Pokeonomy and Ninja. We're not Shroud. But the people that we have on there, not only when you guys chat, you key pins and driver pins, not only when you folks chat, it's awesome and amazing and hilarious and enlightening, but when we do charity runs, you are some of the most generous people like I have ever met in the hacker community, and that's actually saying a lot considering how much charity the hacker community does. So I highly appreciate that. And so if you have some moolah or you have some stuff left over, even if it's like $5, like $10 next month, I can tell you you're going to put that to very good use. But before we even get to that fundraiser, we are going to fulfill the promises and not only try to debut, keyword is try, we're going to try to debut a new once-a-month show that I've been developing all summer. But part of that show we'll finally reward the people who donated all that money, and you're going to watch End Commander get tortured on air in a hilarious way, and you're going to watch me get tortured on air in a hilarious way. So that's going to be pretty neat. Since this is I wasn't expecting this to take a while, so since this is going to take a while, and I'm also going to check chat. I'm going to check the food. What I'm going to do is, I'm not going to go to the standby mode, but you get to watch this process. Watch, I'm going to say this and then it fully loads. And I'm going to play music while you watch the PowerShell run. And then I'll come back and I guess we'll talk and pick locks on air if this is still installing. And then we'll hopefully try to run this program. If not, then we'll end the show early. So enjoy the music and enjoy all the pew pew code stuff. So I'll be back in a bit. Enjoy. Hey, and we're back. Yeah, that was shorter than I expected. That's what she said. Let me actually move this logo into the lower right-hand corner if I can. Because like whatchamacallit, like that, I've done a flat Node.js install on Linux, and that went faster than what it does on Linux. So that was interesting. So let's see. You will run this tool locally to package, serve, and publish your projects. Create your first projects. All right. So hold on. Serious stuff. So what I'm going to do next, if I know everything correctly, is ironically, I could use the Windows command, but I'm actually going to load up Windows PowerShell again. And I'm gonna once it's loaded, I'm gonna put it in the because I'm more familiar with PowerShell than I am with the command line for Windows. It used to be the reverse a while ago, but I guess as I told people, you know, besides seeing if I could crack Windows games by using it, I got really adapted to PowerShell by which now I have on this machine again because I have it on my main machine as I do a lot of Windows stuff with the chocolatey package management system for Windows, and that got me familiar with PowerShell really freaking quick. So I'm going to add a Windows capture, and hopefully all of this should work in PowerShell. So let's put that in there. I'm going to modify bits of this. We're going to get rid of this command area here. That should shrink it down a bit more. Make this full screen. Or as big as we possibly can. And should actually extend this part out a bit. There we go. Now they're touching. Now they kissed. Alright, so I'm actually moving this. I'm going to get rid of the Node.js thing because we don't need that anymore. Don't need Node.js. Node.js PowerShell is my friend now. I also apologize for anyone who was... I'll pop a lock in a bit, but like a simple lock. But like again, because I quickly put this together, even though I'm really stupid excited for like doing this subject, because I'm like, oh, why didn't I think of this? I should have announced this earlier just in case. I had to throw this together just because of the scheduling with the Lockpick AR people. I cannot wait to interview the Lockpick AR people because it's just really freaking cool. All right, I can't. That should happen November 1st. I'm going to talk with them, and then whether or not in November we're going to at least have 2 episodes. It's going to be super hands-on. I know I have some bypass tools coming in. I'm having Detainer stuff coming in, and dimple lock stuff coming in. So I don't know when those are going to be all arriving. I'm already mostly through the dimple lock stuff. I'm just waiting for 2 locks on order. But it should be really cool stuff, and I have more stuff along the way. And eventually I'm going to have to do car hacking. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is, let's see, we're going to get the command line tool, so we're going to use this tool locally to serve and publish your project. So npm install expo CLI global. Actually, let me just want to make sure I'm using the exact thing here. This is the only thing I'm going to copy pasta, just to make sure that I have the correct command in there. Okay, so it was --dash. Okay, so let's see if this thing works. npm. Okay, I think it's installing right now. There was an error? There was a frickin' error apparently. Get the command line tool. So we can't run this. I will reference one more GitHub project you can do for Hacktoberfest. And we'll try this over. Let's say. Okay, I think it's trying again. Library is no longer supported. Huh. That's odd. I bet N Commander's like screaming at me right now. He already hates PowerShell enough as it is. And then Cyricel just sent me something. He's at N Commander's place. It should be really freaking funny. Again, I apologize in advance for this seemingly being a boring episode. Let's see. You have to check. Oh God. Apparently there's a glitch in Super Mario Sunshine. It says if Yoshi becomes stuck out of bounds using glitches or exploits, instead of merely spraying juice from his mouth, he will eject juice from both ends, as depicted doubling the juice output. Yeah, I don't want a Yoshi that's puking and diarrheaing at the same time. Juice. Like, no. Just, no. Thank you, Sarah Cell. You're trying to cook and eat here. You're disgusting me. So I think we just had a major... Let's see. Yeah, I think we probably had a major fail here. Let's see. Create first project. This is get the command line tool, but we didn't. You know, I'm actually going to copy and paste the entire command just to make sure I didn't do this improperly. And we're going to try it again. See if we get the same errors. If not, I have two other options we might be able to do. Yeah, we're getting the same errors. Let's see here. So I'm just curious because I'm going to see if there's maybe a more like detailed, because this seems to be the current version of their website. I just wanted to see like a more detailed of like how to run this stuff. So yeah, so it said download Node.js. Let's see. Maybe global is throwing it off, I think. Maybe. I'm not sure, because I'm going to double check the GitHub page real quick. So let's see, because they said in mobile application it currently runs best in an emulator with Expo. It's coming to test flight. God, I wish it was on test flight. That would be so much easier. Maybe that will be one of the corrections I do, like not on the live stream. I'm just trying to get this thing running so that we can at least maybe demo the application. So I'm going to try it again without the global command and see what might have happened. Yeah, we're getting the same error. We're just getting the same error. Now I'm also curious. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to kill PowerShell here, so the screen should be completely blank now. And instead of PowerShell, even though I'm going to leave the same name, I'm going to bring up the command prompt. And it shouldn't work, but I'm just highly curious. I want to see... I want to see if... look how tiny it is. That's what she said too. I want to actually see if we get the same error in the Windows command line, because it shouldn't be an issue, but sometimes PowerShell and the command line are just different enough that might make a difference. So let's find out right now. Oh, this might be going. Let's see here. This actually might do it. We were probably in the wrong command app, so let's find out if this properly loads. And in fact, let's see. We're getting warnings though. All right, so it's weird because apparently this thing is still going. So I don't know why it's saying it's depreciated. Let's see. Preview your project. Open the Expo development client on your device. Scan the QR code. We have to wait a minute. I wonder why it's not working here. I don't know if this is a Windows thing. I'm going to try one last thing before I give up. Because I forgot what the command is, so I'm just going to close it. And what I'm instead going to screen share, so we're gonna add something different in here, is we're going to screen share this, which will allow me to do basically Pac-Man commands. So we're gonna see how well or not well this thing works, and then if it doesn't run in here, I've given up and I'm just gonna do this on my own off time. So I'm sorry, Tiffany, I'm not as elite as I thought I was if I can't get this to run. But we're gonna find out here, and it's separate, but hopefully the same command should work. So let's cross our fingers and find out. Okay, so we actually haven't installed Node.js or npm on here. I'm actually curious now. Actually, sudo pacman syu. Let's just do s. All right, so now I'm gonna be stupid here. I'm just gonna look this up. Because now I'm just curious because I know I have to basically use Arch Pacman commands in this. So I just want to see if I'm doing this right or not. Let's see. So let's try. Let's try this. And cross our fingers. Why does it say on? Okay. I think it's because I was putting in sudo when I didn't need to. So can't find that. Let me just quickly see about npm. And then if not, I'm gonna have to do this off screen. Maybe and briefly in the intro of a Master of Unlocking, we will try this here. So yeah, it should just be. Nope. It should just be. Okay, so that's installing. This will be fascinating. Oh, there was an error. Can't find npm for some reason. That's just so weird. Okay. Unfortunately, I think I'm stumped here, folks. Let's just try one last time. So it's checking the Mings. Yeah, I can't find it. So yeah, I guess I'm going to apologize here. While this program is awesome, and I do suggest trying to do a git pull for it, unfortunately we're not going to be able to do a git pull on air, a pull request I mean on air, simply because I can't get the program to run and install to find it for errors. So I'm going to have to do that off cam, and what I'll do is next Master of Unlocking, regardless if we're interviewing Lockpick AR, or if we are, now I'm big now, yeah, you can see me, and I'm made in Jersey City and the terrible trash in the corner. But yeah, what I'll do is I'll give everyone an update on how, if I got it to run, if I did, I'll show it working, things like that. So yeah, I would say not bad. Let's see which way I can move to make the logo be decent. This way, or, nope, there we go. I would say not bad of an episode for something where I realized due to time zones I couldn't get everything done in time, so I had to scramble and get a bunch of topics together. So yeah, so what we did was we looked at a cool program that you can contribute to that's open source for Hacktoberfest, and get your you can get your Git pulls on, and so you get your pull requests on if you sign up for Hacktoberfest. You do 4 of them, you get this T-shirt. Again, I will link to the websites here. So. This is the Hacktoberfest website. So Hacktoberfest website, and that's where you're gonna register in the upper right hand corner and sync your GitHub account to. And if you've already done pull requests and they got approved, they will count because it's any of them in October, and particularly that attack Hacktoberfest. And here is houdinID, GitHub, the GitHub page. So if you can try to run it with Node.js and npm. Again, I'm on Windows, so there's probably something that's being confused by. You know, I don't know if I have enough memory for this. Actually, you know what? Let's try one more thing, and I doubt it's gonna work, but in my opinion, it can't hurt. This just occurred to me right now. So one last time we're gonna do this. So I'm going to once again put myself in the corner here, like I do. I'm gonna remove this. Actually, let me rename this. Hang on. Rename. And I'm going to put myself in the corner again and shrink myself, because I thought this was going to be the end of the show. We're going to try one more thing that just occurred to me, and then we're going to end the show. Sorry for the false start here. At worst, we're going to end at 11, but I think we're going to end way, way before that. So let's try this here. So what we're going to look at is, here we go. I just loaded up Parrot. It's going to take a minute or two for it to fully load. Parrot OS is a version of Linux here. And let's see how fast it takes to load. And I'm going to try the same commands on Linux. And we will see if this actually works, because it might just be a Windows thing why it's confused. Although usually if NPM can't fetch something, it's usually like an actual problem within NPM. But I'm going to try to get this to load, and if it doesn't load, like whether the VM doesn't load or the program doesn't load, I'm going to find out. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kill this VM right now. It's probably going to resize awkwardly. Yep. And we're gonna run this again. I usually try to run these before. Here we go. I usually try to run these. Here we go. Now it works. Before, just so that we don't have like issues like this. But let's. Wait a minute. Why isn't this? Hold on. Okay, that's weird. I'm gonna just automatically load it up, and then we're gonna figure out why. Here we go. So now the VM remembered how it worked. I have to resize it though. At least it looks decently big on here. I mean, that's what she says. You know, you look at something the right angle, you can impress the ladies, or the men if you prefer that way too, as long as you impress someone. And we are going to find out if this technique actually works or not, because I'm a buffoon. And I didn't think to do this, so it's going to take a minute or two to load. Well, again, thank you for everyone to watch. We're going to try one last time to run this program that I think is going to be awesome. We're going to try it through Linux. My fear is that even though I did put like a bunch of memory on this VM due to the fact that we're streaming right now, my fear is that we're going to run out of memory for it. Like, I'm not even going to do the updates and upgrades for it. Well, I might do the updates, but not the upgrades, simply because I'm worried that the upgrades alone on this will eat up all the memory on it. So, let's see. So, failed to send host log. What the? Why is this happening? That was weird. I've never had that error before in Parrot. Okay. Okay. That was that. I'm also debating of, instead of having a transparent master of unlocking, well, one of two things. I'm thinking of like either putting it as a full white background like I do at Crypto Barons, or which I have also thought of is I might I'm gonna yawn. It's not late at night for me. It's just I like woke up at 1 and immediately ran into New York City, and then I came back a little bit late just to stream for you guys, because I don't ever want to leave you guys out, especially since that one time where I want to go full details, but basically we were originally supposed to I was supposed to have a pre-recorded episode I was going to show you guys, so I wouldn't miss a day, and unfortunately there was things that effed up in that, and we couldn't air it out that were like human problems, and basically I missed a day, and what sucked is that the show was super like promoted. So I feel like we missed a bunch of our audience on that, and so I tried to, unless it's a true emergency, that if I say, if I'm saying Master of Unlocking happens every other Sunday at 8, or Crypto Barons happens the 2nd to 4th Saturday at 8 p.m., that I'm going to make that. So let's just do some house cleaning here. So I just want to update all the mirrors and stuff just to make sure all the packages are working. I'm not going to do the upgrades for the sake of memory and time. Especially since this is running on a VM, it's going to run kind of slower. So let's start all this. So it's a sudo apt install y node.js, and now we'll see how slow or not slow this goes down to. One upgraded, one newly installed. So we're simply so we already have new Node.js. We just have to upgrade it. So that's what we're going to be doing right now. We're going to see if this works under Linux. Again, we're not only under a VM, but we're streaming right now, so it's going to be a little slow. This is just me seeing if this will actually frickin' work. I'm actually going to go back to this page so I know what commands I'm going to type in as a reference note. Wow, I am so tired today. I sound like that time when G.I. Jack had to deal with the Pine phone. I'll never forget that episode because, like, there's been some good Archvile Linux Perspective episodes. I definitely encourage you to check his show out at this Thursday at what is this Thursday actually? I can't remember the number. Did my computer just do a boo-boo? I think my computer just did a boo-boo. Okay. My computer is confused right now, so we're still streaming normally, but the Windows machine just went nuts. I think you can see because I think we're like lagging on the stream. But yeah, his show is the 22nd. That's this Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Where are you? But yeah, but that episode where he had to deal with the Pine phone, and I'm going to get to the commands in a moment. Oh man, where he was, because it came in that day. He says, this is my first time viewing DEFCON 201. Thank you, Creature Next. Normally this show goes a lot better, especially Master of Unlocking. I usually have everything, but because the content that we had couldn't happen literally at the last minute, I was like, oh, I'll just show off the Sparrows Detainer, even though I'm not doing the Detainer episode yet. And I'm like, huh, I forgot to show the woman's awesome program. Let's shout it out. Tie Hacktoberfest in it since it's still going on for the rest of the month. And then I will, why is everything going slow all of a sudden? And then I will try to get this program to run. So yeah, so right now we're in lag right now. I'm pretty sure you can probably tell on the stream that we are lagging. So let's see here. We're going to clear, and now we're going to sudo apt install y, wrong way, y, npm, just to make sure. That one should go pretty fast. So that was my two topics for today, and I literally figured that out on the train ride home at 6:30. And also New York is backed up to the wazoo, like dead serious. The PATH train, because I'm in New Jersey that I normally run on, was delayed. And why does this keep popping up? And what else was also wrong with it? There was a bunch of stuff that was wrong. Then when I was in New York, the place I had to get to, the R wasn't running. You had to take the N all the way down, and the N was going on a weird trip too, and there was a lot of construction going on, so I was just delayed back and forth. It was crazy. So I'm just happy that I'm here live streaming. Like, I do enjoy this. Like, I'm very curious if all of this is going to work despite the computer just chugging for no reason. But yeah, back to that G.I. Jack episode. Oh, also note, I still have to upload episodes to our other systems, but if you are on YouTube, one of the recent things that I did last week was I put, except for our meetings, because I have to back upload 2 of our meetings, I have put all the DEFCON shows all in playlist in its proper order. So there's a Master of Unlocking playlist, and it goes from the first proper episode, which was actually the 3rd episode, because the first 2 episodes either completely chipmunked out or we had streaming issues, so there was literally nothing of value. Plus, I redid those topics way better, all the way to our current episode, which I believe we're on episode 10 or 11 or something like that. And then the same thing with Archvile Linux Perspective, Crypto Barons, Hackall and Commander, and we also have the entire archive for all the times we streamed for Hope and all the times we streamed for DEFCON Safe Mode. So when I tell you to catch up, you don't have to like search through all of our uploads. You can just go to playlist, click on the playlist, select the number episode because the titles pretty much say what they all are. And you get right into it. But yeah, there's one where he just got the Pine phone that day, and he was so excited to do it. So he starts off his stream like, "Yeah, it's awesome. We have the Pine phone." He's like in his unboxing vid, like Linus Tech Tips, like the Verge Gadget mode, like and then because of how pain in the ass it was to configure and program, by the end of it, his soul was just sucked out through his nostrils, and he's just like, so now I am doing this sub package and moving this button, because he was that dead, and I'm sort of like that tired right now. And it doesn't help that the machine is chugging for like kind of no reason. All right, so now that we have that, let's type in these commands, and now let's see if it works. So let's see if we can actually get them the command line tool now. So sudo, I don't think we need sudo, but I'll try this. npm install expo client global. Just want to make sure I spelled global correctly because my eyes are on the fritz. Okay, cross your fingers. Let's see if this is was this a Windows thing, or was this an NPM thing? Oh, we're getting depreciated. Yep. This is the command. The client tool doesn't work. So, honestly, I don't know if this Expo thing is open source, but if it is, I might have to do 2 Git pull requests. One that better updates their document, because if there's a way to actually run the command line tool that's not listed here, I will update them with that. And again, when I finally get her program running, that will probably be like later this week. So I will promise that on the next Master of Unlocking, let's see if it seems to be still going. So we'll find out. But I promise on the next Master of Unlocking, if we don't get this running, I will give you an update on if I got it to run or not. And if I did get it to run, I'll explain how I finally got it to run. Yep, we're getting depreciated. And what we will do is, and if it is running, if I got it to run, I will show it to you running, and I'll show the 2 pull requests that I'll do, because I definitely want to do pull requests for it. So anyhow, because I'm pretty sure this is going to entirely fail, I will call it quits and say that that is our show today. So thank you for tuning in to this gruel fest of a show that seems to be sporadic everywhere. So just kind of, oh darn it, why did I just do that? See, this is the most unprofessional Master of Unlocking I've ever done, just because of like how crazy this whole weekend is and how legit tired I am. So not because of you folks. You folks have been awesome, and it's not like I'm being tortured right now, although Node.js is getting close there. This is just me being an old man and having a meeting, and then having to help Liz's stream, who did an awesome. She single-handedly pretty much did the entire Hacktober CTF. She's not live right now, but you know what I'm actually gonna do, because we have the tab open for it. The whole thing is just dying, so I'm actually just gonna kill the VM right now, which should free up a lot of memory on here, and everything should run properly now. Okay, so it's stopping in the virtual machine. See everything now pretty much almost. Okay, I'm getting some lag. Why? All right, come on, kill this VM. Kill. It's like it's made by Oracle. It should die anyhow. So yeah, I'm actually gonna, because I have to head over to Twitch, because if you are on Twitch right now, we are gonna raid a Twitch stream. So once I get this going here, I'm just going to close that. And actually, what's probably chugging it the most is this Google Doc thing that she opened here. So I'm actually going to go to that Google thing and then kill that and watch. Now everything's going to run smoothly. Yeah, everything freaking runs smoothly now. So it's a combination of the VM and the Google thing. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go in, and I'm actually going to share her... in fact, you know what I'm actually going to do? I'm going to go to her account, and I'm going to directly share her video, because it was a stream that happened last night. It started off, it was mostly the Hacktober CTF, which is unrelated to Hacktoberfest. There was a CTF that was that was a Halloween theme that happened during our meeting. I got to do like 1 or 2 pieces of, and then because there was a limit of like 4 people per group as opposed to what we usually do where anyone can just join our group, it was a little difficult and frustrating to use because of that, to be honest. But Kusanagi, aka Phoenix Firefly, just single-handedly just hauled and kicked ass that entire tournament, and we got to, I think we were 661 place out of like over 1,000 teams. So that's, and like then we weren't trying to reach number 1 or whatever, but it was really cool. So what I'm actually going to do is, this is also a link to her Twitch, and she's unfortunately not streaming right now, otherwise I'd raid her, but I'm actually going to share in chat the video. So this is Phoenix Fireflies. Flies. I think that's how does she write flies? Fire, just F-L-Y. I'm convinced she's the fly that's on Mike Pence's head, which is pretty awesome. Hacktober CTF rerun. So that is the direct link to the video I'm talking about, and then I'm gonna do another one for her Twitch here. So if you're on Twitch, please follow. Hang on, please follow. I am such an old man right now. So that's our Twitch channel, and if you're on Twitch right now, we are going to raid someone. I will say, so on Crypto Barons, that's when we do lemon distribution. So if you... Oh, cool, we just got an achievement on Twitch. Awesome. So basically, if you're on Crypto Barons, that's this Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because we're on the East Coast here in New Jersey. That will be on October 24th. So if you're on D-Live during that, or D-Live, I call it D-Live, that's when we distribute lemons, and we have a lot of lemons. And don't leave quite left because, and thank you for following. So thanks for all the thanks. Because we're going to raid, I'm going to do the spiel, and we're going to raid someone. Let's see, there's a turtle tank going. Bob Ross is still going. I can't wait till Woke comes back, because they got a week or so ban, and that's why we haven't been raiding Woke recently, because they just absolutely like sucked major, like the algorithms just sucked major ass, and it just killed everything. So out of all the cool tech stuff here, there's an amazing transgender programmer and debugger named Farhapsody. She's doing requests and mapping. We're gonna raid her stream. So if you're on Twitch, so hang on a moment. I'm gonna go to the creator dashboard, and I'm gonna hit that. Oh, the Monero. What info did I talk about there? Just to clarify, because the other day, I don't know if you meant on Friday or the last Crypto Barons, but I'm glad that I got to inform you. You can also email us at info@defcon201 if we're not streaming and you have to have a question to ask, or just DM us or reply to us on Twitter if you're on Twitter, or Instagram. Any social media you can message us on. I read them all. And let's see here. So I'm going to just set up a raid and her. So I really hope you check her out, because right now, again, she's doing debugging and mapping. So it should be really cool. And in the near future, we will have the subtitles working. It's just a whole freaking thing. But anyhow, we're going to go raid. So if you're on Twitch, stay tuned. We're going to raid this awesome programmer tech person's channel. Again, thank you for watching Masters of Unlocking. Again, next episode, we should finally have Lockpick AR from Argentina on here to interview. And I have a bunch of bypassing tools, dimple lock tools, new fancy locks coming in, bypass tools, disc detainer locks, so we can do a proper disc detainer episode. This was just a cool review of the Sparrows disc detainer pick here with its thin head that I'm going to remedy in the future. But yeah, That oh, and I covered the Sparrows logo. I'm an idiot. Yeah. So that was this Detainer. Comes in the snazzy case. Highly recommended, especially since it's rare. But yeah, that was our episode. So we're gonna go raid the stream on Twitch again. If you really like this episode, even if we're not streaming, you can click that bell, hit like, share, subscribe on Twitch, D Live, or YouTube. We should have Facebook streaming really soon. Worst comes to worst, we'll have Facebook streaming by our next meeting in November, which I believe is on November 16th. Let's double check. Third Friday of the month? No, it's 20th. I'm dumb. I can't count. That's how dumb I am today. I'm going to go eat food. So I'm going to hang out here in Jersey City. Again, the next episode you're going to see of Master of Unlocking will be on November 1st. And the next show coming up this week is going to be on the 22nd. That's G.I. Jack's Archvile Linux Perspective. He has been suffering with an illness. It's not COVID, as far as we know. But it's like a stomach thing from bad food. But he should be well enough to do that episode. It's going to be Halloween themed. I'm working on it with him. It should be really fantastic. So definitely don't miss out. That will be on the 22nd, this Thursday at 7. And also as a heads up on the 30th, so the day before Halloween, the night before Halloween, the night before Halloween, going into Halloween itself, I should be here with N Commander, either at our place or at his place. And we're going to do the episode where not only should we be debuting a new once-in-a-month show, but you'll also finally get to see us be tortured as a reward for charity. And then we go into charity streaming in November and possibly December. So anyhow, that's our show. I hope you learned a bunch of stuff about locks, at least about this new Detainer pick, and a little bit about some of the cool code stuff with locks. I just remembered there's also another project. Let me find it real quick. Everyone, don't leave yet. It's just popped in my head. I apologize that I'm like delaying everything, but I actually have to go to let's see. Safe mode, lock. Master keying. There is one more GitHub project. Now I'm going to post that in chat. Let's find out here. Here we go. We're going to find this out in chat. What? Why can't I find this? What the heck? Here we go. This is what I was looking for. So, this is his GitHub. There's a specific project. It is called, Keyspace. And it's another thing. It's also written in JavaScript. I don't know what's with all these lockpickers and physical security people who are doing lockpicking stuff. But this was his thing for DEFCON 28. It's called Keyspace. It's a program for red teamers on physical security to decode keys and master key side channel information. It's like a whole plug and play thing. It's absolutely amazing. I'm going to put his thing right in here. So this is Keyspace GitHub. And I showed that when we covered DEFCON. Safe Mode, the last episode that we did for DEFCON, that was that Sunday night, and we covered it a bit on Master of Unlocking. Actually, we covered it on the Master of Unlocking following DEFCON Safe Mode, and so that's another one for the Hacktoberfest. So anyhow, that's the end of our episode. I can't wait to see you on November 1st, and I really hope I see you also on G.I. Jack's Archvile Linux Perspective show that starts this Thursday on, I always keep forgetting numbers, this Thursday on the 22nd. Starting at 7 p.m. and see me on Crypto Barons on the 24th, this Saturday, starting at 8 p.m. And then again, next Master of Unlocking is November 1st at 8 p.m. again. So anyhow, we have a bunch of shows coming up. You can figure it out by going to our website at defcon201.org. You also find us social media such as defcon201 and Jay on Twitter and all these social medias out there. If you go to our website or search on DuckDuckGo defcon201, you can find us on Instagram, GitHub, Mastodon under hostducks.social. We have so many different ways you can reach out to us. So that was our show. Thank you for Master of Unlocking. Sorry to keep you here extra while, but I hope you check out her stream that we're going to raid right now. So we're in process of raiding. So if you're on Twitch, stay tuned for a really amazing coder and debugger. Hack the Planet, Dirty Jersey Represent, and again, don't pick locks that you don't own, and don't pick locks that you rely on. Those are the two rules. And as Bosnian Bill says, stay safe, stay legal. Peace. Enjoy the rest of your night. Happy hacking, and keep going on with Hacktoberfest. I want to see all of your shirts in a couple of months. Get request properly. Peace, guys. Enjoy the music.